When we find the gospel biographies of Jesus being written, it's really at the height of ancient biographical writing as a genre. This is when we get ancient individuals like Plutarch, Suetonius, Tacitus, and so on, writing biographies of important figures within their day. We have Plato and Aristotle right there. They're about to shoot some hoops. But if we back up in our timeline a little bit, the earliest life story accounts that we see being written in detail are what we call proto-biographies. These start to pop up at about half a millennium behind the Gospels of Jesus Christ. But at this point, what would have been considered biographical would have been the equivalent of something like a funeral eulogy. It might talk about the influence of that person as a soldier or as a leader, but really it just amounted to nice sayings. And this would include writers like Thucydides and Pericles and Aristophanes, lots of names you can forget as soon as you hear them. But a few hundred years after the first century, we find what we call hagiography. And these are stories that tended to include a great deal of accepted embellishment. It was common practice at this time to exaggerate a little bit more than normal in order to really capitalize on the saint or politician you were trying to make an account of. However, between these 2 points, between proto-biographical material and hagiographical material, we actually find standards being laid down by ancient individuals, historians like this guy named Lucian, who writes a document titled How to Write History. And he stresses things like impartiality, detachment, and rigorous devotion to the truth that characterizes an ideal historian. And Luke, in his gospel account of Jesus Christ, in the preface, exemplifies when we see him saying that he's undertaking the task of writing an account. And to do so, he's interviewing eyewitnesses, and he's carefully investigating everything from the beginning.